Alright guys, welcome back to the most amazing game channel in the world. Today I'm going to actually try and get this out before they actually go live, which I think is in a couple days. So yay! Anyways, this is going to be the patch 3.23 notes. This is Nike. If you guys haven't heard of them, then I don't know what you're doing playing Smite. I mean, she's like been all over any form of Smite. But if you haven't, we'll quickly go over. Her passive is 3 goals can be achieved in any way. When you do, at max rank, you get 12% power, 7% movement speed. This is amazing. Nike slams the ground twice. This acts like a Sun Wukong and Amaterasu mix, except it doesn't stun, it disarms. Plan of action basically gives you HP 5, which is very strong, and basically gives bonus damage and a special effect to one of these other abilities. The ult, in a sense, instead of doing more damage, it'll just slow them by twice as much, and you'll get 60% of your max health as a shield. So pretty nice there. New Godskins, Anubis, that's cool. This I think is awesome. Obviously a complete ripoff of the White Walkers of Game of Thrones, and I haven't even got to the point where there's White Walkers really in the show. So I think this is cool. I'll probably pick it up because I like Game of Thrones. Not a super big fan, buy everything as soon as it comes out. I'm just kind of waiting so I can splurge and spam watch all 3,000 episodes all at once. Jurassic Camazotz I think is awesome, cool, and skins, nothing about that matters. Celestial Helm, I think this is really good change. Basically, they are decreasing their physical protection from 90 to 80 and increasing the cost from 2,400, while also, I believe, leaving the magic power at 60. This was a very strong item, especially for late game mid laners, depending on the build. Being able to get 90 physical protections with one item in addition to 60 power, that was very strong. And in addition to that, it also negates 1 crit. And when it does do that, I think that can happen once every, I want to say 3 seconds. It might be, I think I'm off on that. But it also provided you a plus 40 magic power for those 3 seconds. Really strong. Hydrastar and Hydra's Lament are getting a reduced in cooldown. This is somewhat disappointing because I really liked having that extra 5%. This, I think, is a good change. Hydrastar is good. Hydra's Lament, I don't think so. It basically makes you have to buy 3 cooldown items as a jungler now to get max cooldown. I think that's horrible. 35% is decent. So you could go Jotuns and Hydras and be at 35. That's good. You could deal with that. But now you're going to be at 30. I think this is a bad, change. I much rather would have preferred to seen 100, 150 extra gold to maintain that 5% cooldown. This, I don't like this. I like this because 10% on a really cheap item, on a 1,000 gold item to get 10% cooldown is quite good. This, though, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Obsidian Shard, I like this though. Mainly for the fact that so many times you have Spear of the Magus at 50 and you have this at 70, and it's like, well, when am I going to go? I can get 20 more power and bypass 33% of all protections. This I think is a good change. Spear Magus, I think it'll just put this more in even with the game. Erlang Shen still is broken. At first I thought this was great. They basically took off the Hasten Fatalis on his 1 and put it on his Mink form of his 72 transformations. Sorry about that. All this basically means now is once you Mink wave, you now have Hasten Fatalis to get more damage out, and if you do hit the person you're going up against, you no longer have to waste the extra mana going into your spot weakness. I know what they were trying to do by taking so that you couldn't get Hasten Fatalis and then just knock him up and get a turtle shield. That I think is cool. This wasn't the change he needed. It wasn't. He's still going to be fucking broken. He's still going to be just ruining the game. They need to fix Erlang Shen. And this wasn't it. This is stupid. I think this is essentially a buff. And I know some of you are going to be like, no, it's not. Think about it. Truly think about it. And I think this is a buff. Hades, he's getting a huge buff as well. I like this. They just released the Chibi skin. It probably didn't sell as good as they wanted to, or maybe it did. But now they're going to try and buff him so that people may get it. I think that might be why. Because he's a Guardian. He can't really be a solo laner. You can, but it would be very, very odd. Basically, I like these changes. I like him a lot. This is huge because there's been times when I've gone support Hades and I go and shroud him and it knocks him back. And then all of a sudden I can't use my 3 to heal and kill the lane. Pillars of Agony. I like this. It's an early game buff. This is going to be huge and allow you to actually be aggressive early in the game. Late game, it's still going to be the same, but early game, 40 protections wasn't bad, but if you ever do that into a team fight at like level 8, you know, even if you have 50 protections, that's not that much. 65 though, that's going to help a lot more. So I'd like this too, and they also increased the blight duration on his attacks, so you don't feel like pressured to hurry up and use all your fucking abilities within 5 seconds. They almost doubled that. I think this is a good change for Hades. Jing, obviously one of the most dominant people. I like this change to not just be able to use your 2 and immediately get a crit chance, because I've done that and I've crit him for like 180 at like level 8 with no crit items. This I think is a good change, although this is also going to be the very last thing leveled up, so not too big. This is not explosive bolts. This is the dash, the cooldown. This I don't like. This is what made Jing very, very strong. Besides that, she doesn't really have any other mobility. You look at, you know, a Rama or a Neith or things like that. Theirs is not 16. It's like this is a long time, and this is maxed out. So now instead of 12, you don't build cooldown with her, so you're only going to have what really kind of helped her kit a lot. It wasn't just a dash and movement, because like I don't like what they're trying to do. They didn't even really say, to my knowledge, why they did this. If they're going for mobility, that's not... I mean, yes, it was definitely used for mobility, but the big thing is you got hastened when you use this, and that's what really made her good. I like this change. I don't like this change. Overall, I think it's... I'm going to have to play her after the patch to really figure out. Kepri, they're trying to get him back into the more dominant Guardian in Season 3 by increasing his basic, or his base health pool from 460 to 490. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. I mean, that's like a whole extra auto for, an ADC. And this is going to be like essentially almost a whole min wave, as long as you tank it right, that you can take a whole nother min wave for free. This, I think, is awesome, though she's still going to be very, very strong. This wasn't the big deal. Her passive, I understand that they wanted to get that to only go down by gods, not minions, because essentially she's never had a passive. But by doing this, you're still not addressing the issue that you can use your 2-1 combination, and it's like this is like a Anubis ult, except you get it so much quicker. This I don't like. I think it should have stayed the same. She's still going to be powerful. They didn't need to buff her. She, honestly, I think just take off the silence on her too, and then that would make it... Then I think that would have been a good change. But they're not. I think this is bad. I mean, I could be wrong, but still, she's so good. She is a late game mage for sure. This, I think, is awesome too. It now provides Osiris with 1% magical damage mitigation on his passive per stack as well. So it's not just physical, it's actually going to give him a little bit later too. So it's going to help kind of add some more tactical decisions, whether, going in and fighting. If you are going up against someone like a Freya or a Hades or something solo, you're now going to be able to benefit off of that as well. Terra, though, and they are now increasing this to not be so adamant late game, so it's 110% at all ranks, or 110 seconds at all ranks. This basically means you will need to build max cooldown on her to even have her relevant with the ult. She keeps getting a bunch of nerfs, so I don't know if she's actually going to be that relevant. I don't know if she'll be a top tier god after this. Just because of her obelisk can now be destroyed super easily. 3 autos is nothing, especially late game. Now this is going to be huge. 20 seconds is quite significant. And when you take 40% off that, you're missing out on quite a bit. So this, I think, was definitely a good change, but I think they're kind of nerfing her too much, so she might be out of the meta. Thoth, I think, this is one of the last things. That his hieroglyphic assault, they increase the projectile speed by 20%, which is super quick. I played against this in that video I uploaded. This comes out so much quicker now. Evade and punish, increase the radius from 3 to 4. I think this is good as well. And the Glyph of Pain reduced the mana from 60 to 25 to 45. This is great, because now you can actually spam this ability like they wanted you to. there's no reason why they'd make it last longer than the cooldown with no cooldown reduction. Unless they want you to be able to spam this ability and use it situationally and tactically and everything else. This, I think, is an awesome one. This, I think, is great as well. And this, not that one. This, I think, is going to be good. I think this is a very good patch for Thoth too, because people are learning how to play against him now. You get close and he's dead. You bait out his little dash and that's it. Like, he's super immobile at that point, and all you have to do is get close, and all of a sudden, you bypass the Glyph of Pain, and then he has this to do damage. Besides that, his ult is really strong. His 1 is basically his damage dealer, and if you bypass the Glyph of Pain, his 1 doesn't do as much damage, and this is on such a long cooldown that he can never really get away from you. I think they're still trying to get Thoth into the actual meta and make him as good as they wanted him to be. Right now, I still think he's kind of underperforming, but we'll see after this next buff. I mean, this is going to be 2 consistent buffs in a row to a newly released god. I don't think they've ever done that. Not to this magnitude since I've started playing when Khepri was the first god. Lastly, we have Tyr. They're now going to change this, and they just broke him. Yep, that's... Tyr is going to have, in the first few levels, not needing to sacrifice a skill point. Yes, I get it, but this is going to be ridiculous now. This is going to be so strong to be able to change this. And yes, I understand why they do it for Ullr, because he can't heal and he doesn't do as much damage early. Tyr, this is scary. This is really good. I don't think it was needed. We'll see though. This basically was just a huge buff to his early game. Early and maybe mid, depending on how you level him. I don't like this, though. Overall, I don't like it. I think was overkill, and it's crazy. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, this does kind of wrap up the 3.23 patch notes. And until the next time, guys, have yourself a fucking amazing life.